Welcome to this explainer. Well, actually, today I'm not just your host. Think of me more as your uncanny jester. We're going to pull back the heavy velvet curtain on a seriously grim, gothic parable of the Renaissance stage. We're traveling back into the shadows of history, to a kingdom wrestling with its own darkness. So let's dive right into this dark fantasy, where high learning meets the muddy reality of the streets, and where a single fateful pact forever changed the stories we tell.
Okay, close your eyes for just a second. I want you to literally imagine stepping out of the cold, biting winds of the city streets. You push through these massive, heavy oak doors and, boom, you step right into the damp, stone-filled arena of a grand theater. The smell of wet earth and unwashed bodies just hangs in the air. The flickering torchlight is casting these long, eerie shadows across the walls. You know, you aren't just learning history today, you're standing right in the middle of it, inside the very crucible where modern drama was forged.
So here's the setup. You've got this profound tension tearing at the kingdom of Londiria. On one side, there's the Tudor crown, desperately trying to impose order. The king is seeking the controlled light of the court, this sterile, luminous, perfect obedience. But you can't just erase history, right? Outside the palace walls, the realm is choking on the persistent smoke of civil discord. It's the chaotic, smoky aftermath of war, a restless, really unruly energy lingering in the hearts of his people. The king wants a perfectly manicured garden, but his kingdom is still a tangled, dangerous forest.
And sitting right at the edge of that dark forest is our setting, the theater, this great circular structure. It is here that the damp smell of stone literally meets the rowdy, chaotic social hub of the people. Down in the muddy pits, beggars are rubbing shoulders with disguised nobles. It's this incredible melting pot of society, hidden in the shadows, entirely away from the king's controlled light. It's dangerous, it's raw, and it is absolutely ripe for a revolution.
Act 1. Fire in the muddy pits.
So, into this dark, totally volatile arena steps a group of men. We're talking about a brilliant, kind of brooding scholar named Christopher, along with his circle of learned men, known as the university wits. Now, these guys didn't just stay locked away in their safe ivory towers. No way. They acted as a vital bridge. They took the fire of high learning out of the sterile courts of the universities and carried it directly down into the damp, grimy pits of the playhouse. They brought academic brilliance to a public that was just starving for it. You see, before the wits showed up, the stage was basically dominated by common rhymes. You know, simple village farces, super basic morality tales with these predictable sing-song rhythms. But Christopher and his crew, they completely abandoned those safe, simple rhymes. Instead, they forged a brand new weapon, refined blank verse. It was this thundering, rhythmic language that perfectly captured the grit of the streets while still maintaining the elegance of high art. It sounded like a heartbeat. Honestly, it sounded like thunder.
Act 2. Forging the Dark Pact. Let's see how this builds into the real climax of our dark fantasy. The king is up there trying to banish the chaos of his kingdom, right? He's trying to just ignore the shadow of civil discord that's following him everywhere. But Christopher, standing down in the muddy pit of the circular playhouse, looks directly at that shadow. He doesn't see a ghost to be banished. He sees a dark, beautiful story to be told. He makes a fateful choice. He decides to harness this dangerous, chaotic energy of the realm rather than hide from it. He essentially strikes a bargain with the very spirit of the stage. Listen closely to the scholar's incantation here, because this is the exact verse that birthed a legend. Oh, to tread where stars do weep and monarchs fear to tread, to weave the silver tongue of blank verse from the threads of the dead. I seek the overreaching spirit that challenges the sky, to mirror human chaos where the old traditions die. From this dark, brilliant pact, the incredible tale of Dr. Faustus is violently dragged into the light. Act 2. Continued. The Overreaching Spirit.
Right at the core of Christopher's creation is this crucial concept, the overreaching ambition. This was a massive, fiery thematic shift for the time. He started populating the galleries with characters who dared to challenge the stars and, even more importantly, dared to question the divine right of monarchs. I mean, think about how terrifying and utterly thrilling that was for the audience, to sit in the damp dark and watch a character openly question the absolute power of kings, all while knowing the king's own men might be watching from the balconies right above you.
So, Dr. Faustus introduces two really tectonic powers to the stage. First, you've got the overreaching ambition, that dark, burning desire that challenges the heavens themselves. And second, the refined blank verse, that magical silver tongue that blends academic sophistication with the raw, desperate hunger of the public.
These two elements didn't just make a good play, they literally formed the definitive artistic foundation that defined the entire legacy of the university wits.
Act 3, A Vessel for Royal Order.
Picture the king of Longeria, right? He's watching these dark plays from the flickering torchlight of his royal box, and a cold dread just grips him. He's thinking, is this powerful new art a mirror for rebellion? Are these overreaching spirits going to inspire the masses in the muddy pits to rise up and tear down his controlled light? That was the huge question hanging over the playhouse like an executioner's axe. But here is the magnificent twist of our parable. Christopher and his fellow wits, they actually proved the crown wrong. They showed that by reflecting the messy, beautiful, and honestly sometimes deeply dangerous truth of the human condition, the theater didn't incite chaos, it contained it. The playhouse transformed into this highly sophisticated mirror. The crown slowly realized that allowing the stage to mirror human chaos was actually the safest way to channel and manage that very darkness. The theater became, incredibly enough, a vessel for order.
Epilogue: The Upstart's Legacy. As the curtain falls on Christopher's life, the spirit of the stage offered this really haunting response to his initial incantation. It was basically a prophecy for the future of the English stage. By the ink of the scholar and the sweat of the pit, the shadow is captured by the player's wit. The upstart shall follow where the wits have led, building kingdoms of poetry from the fire we have spread.
Just observe the direct lineage of this history for a second. Step 1. We start with the fire of high learning from the scholars. Step 2. They carry it down into the rowdy, muddy pits. Step 3. This sparks the creation of Dr. Faustus and that whole overreaching spirit. And finally, Step 4. This exact framework clears the path for the prophesied upstart, a young writer from the country who would take this refined verse and ambitious storytelling to unimaginable heights. I am speaking, of course, about William Shakespeare. Without Christopher's Dark Pact, there are absolutely no Shakespearean masterpieces.
So, the absolutely crucial point to take away from this explainer today is this. The king kept his throne. He managed to keep his controlled light over the physical kingdom. But Christopher's pact ensured that the chaotic, overreaching, wonderfully dangerous shadow would permanently haunt our theaters. The scholars built this bridge between high art and the common man, and in doing so, they gave the darkness a beautiful, lasting voice. As we extinguish the torchlight and leave the damp stone of the circular playhouse behind, I want to leave you with a provocative thought. The university wits captured the chaos of their time and turned it into art that literally changed the world. What shadows are lingering in our own modern world, and what kingdoms of poetry will you build from the fire they spread? Thank you so much for exploring this dark history with me, and keep seeking out the brilliant shadows.